Before the mountains stood or the oceans waved, before man, beast, or bird ever breathed, there was only silence, boundless, shapeless, and still. From that endless stillness, a breath stirred, and with it, the myth of gods began. That first breath was chaos, not destruction, but the raw material of all things. From chaos, Gaia emerged, earth with her solid body and growing pulse. And then came Eros, the strange energy that draws things together, love in its oldest form, not romance, but creation. Gaia, alone yet brimming with life, gave birth to Uranus, the starry sky. Together, earth and sky wove the world, and from their union came the first divine race, the Titans, 12 colossal beings born not in chaos, but in Gaia's womb and Uranus's shadow. Their children were powerful, too powerful. The Titans were strong, radiant, but some were strange and monstrous. But Uranus was a cruel father. He loathed his children and feared them. He buried them inside Gaia's body, deep beneath the soil. The earth groaned in pain, holding her children captive within herself. Tired of suffering, Gaia crafted a plan and forged a great sickle out of stone. She passed it to her son, Cronus, who lay in wait until night cloaked the world. When Uranus descended to embrace Gaia, Cronus struck with a single, brutal swing. He cut through the sky and severed his father's power. Uranus's blood fell onto the earth and sea. From it, more beings would be born. But Cronus had done what Gaia could not. He ended the reign of Uranus. Cronus freed his Titan siblings. A new age dawned, the age of the Titans. He took the throne and claimed the world as his own. He married his sister Rhea, and a new era began. Cronus now held the throne, and he took his sister Rhea as queen. Together, they bore gods destined to surpass them: Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, Poseidon, and last, the spark of rebellion, Zeus. But Cronus feared what he himself had done, that his children would dethrone him as he had dethroned his father. So one by one, he swallowed them whole, locking eternity into his belly. Rhea, desperate to save her youngest, turned to Gaia once more. On the island of Crete, hidden in a cave on Mount Ida, she birthed Zeus in secret. She wrapped a stone in cloth and offered it to Cronus instead of her baby. He swallowed it, none the wiser. Zeus grew in silence, in shadow, nursed by sacred bees, guarded by divine protectors. When he came of age, strong and cunning, he returned to confront the tyrant father. With the help of Metis, he tricked Cronus into vomiting up his siblings. Each emerged alive, fully divine, and angry. So began the war, Olympians against Titans. For 10 years the war raged, thunder clashing with raw might. But it was not enough. Zeus descended to the darkest depths and freed the ancient prisoners, the Cyclopes, the one-eyed giant craftsmen, and the 100-handed giants once buried by Cronus himself. Grateful, the Cyclopes armed the gods. They gave Zeus the thunderbolt, Poseidon the trident, and Hades a helm of invisibility. Armed and allied, the Olympian gods turned the tide. The Titans were defeated. Those who fought against Olympus were cast into Tartarus, a pit so deep no light could reach. Only Atlas was spared, cursed instead to hold the sky upon his shoulders. Thus began the reign of the Olympians, and the world has changed forever. With victory won, the three brothers, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, drew lots to divide the world. Zeus took the sky, Poseidon claimed the sea, and Hades descended to rule the underworld. And Mount Olympus, veiled in cloud, became their home, a palace of marble and storm, where the gods, like mortals, loved, fought, and schemed. Zeus, Lord of Thunder, ruled Olympus as king. The sky was his domain, and thunder was his voice. He was not just a god of storms, but of order and law, protector of oaths, of strangers and hospitality. To welcome or reject a traveler was no small thing. It was an act that could earn divine favor or wrath. People feared him, but they also trusted him to keep the balance. He watched over promises and punished those who broke sacred oaths. But for all his strength, Zeus was far from perfect. He married Hera, his sister, a union of divine politics and endless tension. Together they bore gods of war and fire, Ares and Hephaestus. But Zeus' desires were many. He fathered Athena from his own skull, Hermes from a quiet affair, Apollo and Artemis from the radiant Leto. He lay with goddesses and mortals alike, creating gods like Dionysus and heroes like Perseus, Hercules, and Helen of Troy, each story marked by brilliance and Hera's fury. Hera, queen of Olympus, was goddess of marriage and protector of women. She was powerful and revered, but she carried pain too, the pain of betrayal, again and again. When she was angry, entire lives were changed. To wound Zeus, she punished his lovers and their children. Leto, the mother of Apollo and Artemis, wandered in agony because Hera forbade her to give birth. Io, a mortal woman, was turned into a cow and kept under watch by Argos, the 100-eyed giant. Even Hercules, a demigod of immense strength, bore her wrath from infancy. She sent serpents to his cradle, then later madness to his mind, madness that made him slay his own family and begin the labors of redemption. Hera was scorned, yet sacred, feared, yet worshipped. She represented the trials of womanhood and the cost of betrayal. Poseidon ruled the oceans, with a temper as unpredictable as the waves. His moods carved waves or rushed fleets. Sailors feared him and prayed before every voyage. He could calm the sea or send it roaring with tsunamis and monsters. Though he held a throne on Olympus, his true kingdom was beneath the sea, a coral palace, jeweled and wild. One king, Minos of Crete, once withheld a sacred bull meant as offering. Poseidon, insulted, did not punish the king directly. Instead, he cursed Minos' wife to fall in love with the bull. From that unnatural union, the Minotaur was born, half man, half beast. Poseidon's vengeance was often poetic and cruel. Hades ruled the land of the dead, not because he was cast out, but because he accepted the weight of death. The underworld was his realm, a place where souls journeyed after life. To enter, the dead needed coins to pay Charon, the ferryman of the river Styx. Without coin, they lingered on the banks, lost to eternity. Cerberus, the three-headed dog, stood guard at the gates. No soul escaped once it passed. The dead faced judgment by three divine judges. Those who had lived with honor were sent to Elysium, a land of peace. Ordinary souls wandered the asphodel fields, and those who had committed crimes against the gods were cast into Tartarus. Hades ruled with order, not cruelty. He was just, but distant. His only true passion was for Persephone. Persephone, daughter of Demeter, was once a girl who picked flowers in the fields. Hades saw her and fell in love. He opened the earth and pulled her below. Demeter, goddess of the harvest, searched for her daughter endlessly. When she could not find her, she let the earth wither. Crops failed, famine spread. Zeus interfered, brokering a deal. Persephone would spend 6 months in the underground with Hades and 6 months above with her mother Demeter, bringing spring in her return. A compromise was struck, and Hades agreed to return Persephone. Thus, the seasons were born. Winter marks her descent. Spring celebrates her return. Her myth is a cycle of life, death, and return, a reminder of the world's rhythms and the power of maternal grief. Athena, goddess of wisdom and strategy, was born from Zeus, not through birth, but through pain. After swallowing Metis, the goddess of thought, Zeus suffered a blinding headache. When his head was split open, Athena emerged, fully grown, armored, and ready for war. She favored strategy over slaughter, intellect over impulse. She became the protector of cities and heroes. She guided Odysseus home, steadied Hercules, and gave Perseus the tools to slay Medusa. When she competed with Poseidon for Athens, She gave the city an olive tree, a symbol of peace, prosperity, and nourishment. The gods chose her gift, and the city bore her name. The Parthenon, temple of the Virgin Goddess, still echoes her legacy, shining over the city she loved. If Athena was the mind of war, Ares was its rage. God of bloodshed and violence, he inspired dread more than devotion. He was handsome, arrogant, and reckless. Even among gods, Ares was unwelcome, but he found companionship in Aphrodite, the goddess of love. Their affair was exposed when her husband, Hephaestus, caught them in an invisible trap. Exposed to the laughter of Olympus, Ares' pride was pierced, but never his hunger for battle. Aphrodite was beauty in motion, desire given form. She embodied love in all its forms, sacred, seductive, and chaotic. Some say she rose from the sea, born from the foam that formed around Uranus' severed flesh. Others say she was born of Zeus. She used her allure to sway hearts and fates. It was her promise of beauty that sparked the Trojan War, when Paris awarded her the golden apple. Over Hera and Athena, Helen, the promised prize, was already wed, but love, once ignited, knows no boundary. Her gift was irresistible, her games often deadly. Apollo was god of light, music, and prophecy. He brought the sun across the sky and sung to human hearts. At Delphi, his oracle spoke with the voice of the divine. His twin sister Artemis hunted in the wild places. She guarded the balance of nature, defending purity, punishing the wicked. When hunter Actaeon spied her bathing, she turned him into a stag. His own hounds tore him apart. The twins brought order, sun and moon, reason and instinct. Hermes, quick-witted and fast-footed, patron of thieves and travelers, he moved freely between worlds. With winged sandals and a golden staff, he carried the messages of gods and souls of the dead to Hades. He stole Apollo's cattle as a baby, then invented the lyre to gift an apology. Cleverness was his currency, and he spent it well. Hephaestus, the god of fire and forge, was born with a limp. Cast from Olympus by his own mother, he landed in the sea. Yet he rose from rejection with talent and brilliance. He crafted the weapons of the gods, built the palaces on Olympus, and forged the armor of heroes. Though given Aphrodite as a bride, his heart remained wounded. His forge burned beneath volcanoes, a place of toil and brilliance. Dionysus, god of wine, madness, and ecstasy, was the last to join Olympus. He blurred the line between joy and ruin, dancing between sanity and frenzy. He wandered with wild women and strange creatures, turning grief into celebration and sorrow into song. His cult was wild and freeing. To follow him was to lose oneself and sometimes find something deeper. The gods of Olympus were never just gods. They lied, fought, cheated, and loved. But in them, we see reflections of ourselves, exaggerated, eternal, divine. Their stories carved in stone and whispered in temples still echo in our art, our dreams, our struggles. From chaos to Olympus, from titans to mortals, the tale of the Greek gods is a mirror of humanity, flawed, glorious, and forever mythic. Subscribe for more forgotten stories, myths, and ancient truths, and let us know in the comments below which myth would you like to hear next.